hit that. That's fine though. It's recording, so just talk to the camera. Start with an introduction, something simple. My name's Steve Harrison. This is my comparison of the original and the remake of Total Recall. Go straight into it.
Okay.
Good luck.
Can I start now?
Yeah, once the door's closed, just always talk to the camera basically.
Okay. Hello, I'm Steve Harrison and this is my presentation of Total Recall. I will be comparing the two films of Total Recall, the remake and the original, the production of the film, characterization and casting, setting and the storylines, the technical products, the marketing of the film and the exhibition and box office takings of the film, such as gross margin. I will compare the success of the two films, taking into account the times of which the films were made in, and look at some key differences between the films and compare on the financial success will be impacted. This Total Recall is based off the book We Can Remember It For You Wholesale by Philip K. Dix, who also made Blade Runner and other sci-fi films. The actual book was only about 20 pages long. It was a short story in a magazine, and it's come on to be one of the most successful sci-fi films. The basic storyline of the Total Recall is a man, the 1990 version is a man, when a man goes for a virtual vacation memory of the planet Mars and unexpectedly heroes a series of events forcing him to go back to the planet for real, or does he? IBM outlines the directors, writers and the stars below. They're generally successful at the time. So Paul Van Heaven was a very successful director in the 80s and directed such films as, well, he directed Total Recall and then he directed Basic Instinct. I said about Philip K. Dix, and then you got Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was a really big star back then. Sharon Stone as well in the film. In the new Total Recall, it takes a little bit of a different twist on the film, but instead of using Mars, it uses Britain and Australia. Kind of makes it more realistic and believable. A factory worker, Douglas Quaid, begins to suspect that he is a spy after visiting Recall, a company that provides its clients with implants, fake memories, or a life they would like to lead. Goes wrong and he finds himself on the run from the government.
Oh, sorry.
Len Wiseman, the director who also done Underworld, is the 3 Underworld trilogies. Colin Firth is starring in this film. I'd probably say this is one of his first big blockbuster film apart from SWAT. And in this film, I don't really think he lives up to expectations. You've also got Kate Beckinsale, who is in the film as well, and she is married to the director, Len Wiseman, as well as Bryan Cranston. Total Recall, the original. The finances of the film, its budget was around 60 million, 65 million. The box office it made was 200 million, so it made, the gross profit was 200 million and the gross margin was 77%. The market markup was 335%. This is a lot. Total Recall was released on June the 3rd, 1990 in the USA. It was shown on 5 different continents across 25 countries. It was screened at over 2,000 cinemas and made over 25 million on the first weekend of being released. The film used different concepts to the film uses different concepts concepts to many other sci-fi films by using the ideas that it has dreamlike qualities. So it might not be what it seems. Trivia: Patrick Swayze was going to be the cast in the lead role, but the film went bust. So, in the remake, the finance that they got was a lot bigger budget. Was a similar budget, I'd probably say, to the time of Total Recall, where the budget was $125 million, and the box office was 198 million, and the gross profit was 73 million, and the gross margin was 37%, and the markup was 50%. So there's a lot of difference between, bearing in mind that the older one was made in the 90s, and this one is modern day era, so the currency is a little bit different. So I think you can tell by the older one that it was 335 markup, whereas this is only 58% markup. So there's a big difference. On the opening weekend, the remake made over 25 million, the same amount as the original. But that could be also to a cult following, people thinking that it's going to be as good as the other one. So Lenz is the director and married to Kate Beckinsale. It is not hard. I could see why that she would be played in the film because he's worked with it before, so he knows how her character kind of works, or how her acting style is, and I think they can work together well. So that's what I think. He also directed the Underworld trilogies. The technology they use, the technology of the production. This film had around 45. The original Total Recall only had around 45 seconds of animation or special effects in it, and this would be similar to. You could do today the same effects at your Mac at home in about a day or two. Also, this new Total Recall uses more up-to-date technology like Alarific 3511 Panasonic premium lenses with HD and Blu-ray quality, but they did not use 3D. The aspect ratio of the Total Recall is 2.5, the new one. The original used Alarific cameras, Zenith lenses, but their cameras are more up to date than the cameras in the new Total Recall. They used aspect ratio, the older Recall used less up to date cameras. In both films they still use sets and props, but in the new film they have used a lot more CGI. This matches the style that the new Total Recall is going for, a gritty and overpopulated world. Similar to Blade Runner, I think Total Recall is trying to, well, it's a quite similar story to Blade Runner in an aspect of the world that they live in is not a perfect one, and I think this is reflected in the film, and I think it hits key issues that we have today. Both films made over 25 million on the release of the weekend, on their weekend releases. In the 1990 film, Arnold Schwarzenegger felt that the film was not advertised enough, and then they had a big advertising budget campaign 6 weeks before the film started or was going to be shown. I think this helped the film a lot, because otherwise it would probably end up as a big flop if it didn't have this marketing campaign. The visuals was very pioneering because of the groundbreaking special effects and makeups. The film won an Oscar for Best Visual Effect. The award winners found out 6 weeks before the Oscar ceremonies even took place. The Total Recall 2012 film made over $50 million in the cinema. The film was successful, but it was not very different to any other sci-fi films that you see today. I see in the past where the original Total Recall was groundbreaking in the special effects and completely new for me, and new in the 90s. The film, the 2000 version, was nominated for a Golden Globe for the Best Theatrical Advertising. trends. The 1990s was full of action films, which led on from the 80s films. These were very similar in that there were so many different genres that were still popular. The action movies was at its peak with so many action films coming out in the late 80s and 90s, such as Die Hard 2, Mark for the Dead, Terminator, which are huge films that made loads of money in the 90s. Films that started to become more serious, and this is reflected in the new Total Recall. They don't just have a bad guy, they make you think it is a real drama or a dream. Another film that has a similar concept is The Matrix. This film makes you wonder if things are real or not. Both of these films make you question what is real. Action trends. So you got Terminator 2, Die Hard, The Fifth Element, Steven Seagal film, Predator, which were big films in the 90s and were action films. And then you've got films that make you think that are similar to Total Recall, where everything isn't what it seems, such as The Matrix makes you think that you might be stuck in a machine and you're just living a computer simulation. Or you got Fight Club, where perception is somebody's reality is completely questioned and things don't make sense. Or you've got The Eighth Monkey, which makes you think in the aspect of somebody being sent back in time, using time travel to make you think. And then Inception is one of the most original ideas that's come out recently in times. So with a dream within a dream within a dream, a very unique concept. The casting for the original was Arnold Schwarzenegger as Douglas Quaysor, Hauser, or Rachel Titchett as Melina, Sharon Stone as Laurie, Ronnie Cox as Visualos Cohagen, and then for the newest one it's Colin Firth, Jessica Bilia, Kate Beckinsale for Laurie, Jessica Bilia for Melina, and Cohagen as Brian Cronstock. Michael Ironside played Richard in the original film. In the new film, he's not in the film. They've taken him out and they've absorbed him into, or they've Kate Beckinsale has fleshed out his character to appeal to a younger audience, and I think it's trying to say that the film is more accepting to a more stronger female character, in the new films. Star comparison. Douglas Quaid Hauser. Arnold was born on July 30th, 1947 in Austria. Arnold started bodybuilding when he was 15 years old, and through his career became the world's greatest, or world's most famous bodybuilder. The world's most famous bodybuilder by winning 6 Mr. Olympia titles and 3 Mr. Universes. After he retired from bodybuilding, he went on to movies and was given a huge deal to make the film Conan, which its budget was $9 million, and today would be equivalent to a $50 million film. Arnold was not the first choice for the Total Recall role. The first choice was Patrick Swayze, and the film was going to be filmed in Australia, but the film's budget went bust, and Arnold ended up buying the contract out, and the film ended up being filmed in Mexico because of the cities and the barren landscape that matched the Mars concepts that they were going for. Arnold moved on from films and became a very successful politician as the governor of California. Even every area that Arnold has worked in, he has become a household name and a success. Colin Firth's version of Douglas Quaid. Colin was born in Dublin, Ireland in 1975. Colin was raised to a Colin's rise to fame was through the TV series Ballykiss Angel. He tried to join Boyzone early on in his career before his film career started. His breakthrough film was Phone Booth, which made over $90 million at the box office. He won a Golden Globe for the best performing by an actor in a motion picture, comedy or musical for In Bruges. He also starred in another remake of a well-known 80s film called Fright Night. He starred as Jerry the Vampire Next Door. Sharon Stone's character was suited to the time of the 90s, where there wasn't so many strong independent characters in films. Sharon also later starred in another film of Paul Verhoeven in the film Basic Instinct, and this film was made over 300 million in the box office. Kate Beckinsale was born on the 26th of July 1973. Her father was one of the stars on Porridge, which was a well-known TV show in England. The role she plays in the new Total Recall is a lot different to Sharon Stone's version, because in the film Sharon's character is just the wife and kind of playing a part, whereas Kate Beckinsale's character is like the bad guy, in essence, working along Cohagen. So it's a big contrast where she's been given a more enhanced role of the bad guy, or bad person. Kate also starred in the Underworld, film trilogy Underworld. The two biggest issues that faced the film. The first was overall the population. It hits the point where we are becoming overpopulated on the planet, so we need to have more space, and the film kind of mentions this issue. And there was also another issue with China and the Beijing Olympics, where people were being evicted from their homes and destroyed to make the Olympic parks. And this is kind of similar to the kind of action that they're taking for Australia, where they're destroying people's homes and throwing them out. So you could put it like that. Also, you could also say that people on Mars could be used as a similar concept for people in Africa, with the people that have and the people that have nots, people that are left behind and people that aren't. It's in that kind of way that Africa has something in the first world. It's like first world and third world. The concept is. Here's an example. Serena Furious, The Total Recall was based on a short story by, obviously, Philip K. Dick, which was called We Can Remember It For You Wholesale. In the original film, Rick was played by Michael Ironside. In the new film, Laurie Kate Beckinsale absorbs his character and repeats the character. They've changed Mars into being Australia. Melina is now the daughter of Mathis, whereas in the older film she was just one of the people that worked with him. In the original Total Recall, it was supposed to be filmed in Australia but ended up being filmed in Mexico. In the new film, Hauser's appearance has changed, which kind of gives it a more idea that it's actually in the Total Recall world. It's not actually real world. It lends itself to being, in the new one, more of a dream, because at the end of the film it's got a giant Total Recall sign at the top of the picture, and it also shows a tattoo being put on his arm, and it's not there in the Total Recall series, or in the new Total, at the end of the Total Recall, the new one. vertical and horizontal integration. TriStar, which is now Sony Pictures, produced and budgeted the film. But Arnold also owned the rights to the script because he bought them. TriStar Pictures now is known as Sony Pictures and distributed the film back then. The new Total Recall was distributed by Sony Pictures and Columbia Pictures. Overall, I think the film was a good. The original was a 5-star film because the concepts were completely new and nobody had ever done it before. The kind of special effects, and that's why it earned an Oscar 6 weeks before, or found out that it won an Oscar 6 weeks before anybody else knew. The people that did the special effects knew 6 weeks before. So, in that aspect, it's a really unique idea, and I think it kind of led on from a lot more films using, making you, the audience, think, from Blade Runner and then go into Total Recall. That is a big, both of the films make you kind of think to yourself, engaging the audience, whereas it's not just where other films, it's just sit back and watch it, whereas the film kind of lends itself to having different ideas and concepts, and you decide, not the film decides for you. Overall, I did enjoy the first Total Recall. When I was watching the remake of it, I found myself thinking that I could just switch this off and put on the original, which was a better film. But I still think that you shouldn't discredit the new Total Recall. I think it is a good concept and the ideas are good, but I just think that the original was a better idea, or better made. So I think the new Total Recall kind of lends itself to being a film where you can imagine yourself as the hero, like Hauser, like Colin Firth's character. You can imagine yourself doing that because of how it's lending the idea that it is Total Recall. Overall, I give the original's Total Recall 5 stars because it was very groundbreaking and it was different. Whereas the new film gets 3 stars because it's got good effects, but it's just lacking that X factor that the Total Recall has, the unique idea, the groundbreaking idea, something new, because that's what you associate with Total Recall, because it brought out mind-boggling special effects, and whereas the new one is kind of generic and it uses the same kind of CGI as other films use. That was my presentation. Thank you very much.
You alright? Did you finish, David?
Yes.
That was exciting.
Did she come in